Breaking tonight, the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte moves into a new phase. House prosecutors say land bank witnesses have established that more than 612 million pesos in public funds was encashed. The next witnesses expected to take the stand when the trial resumes. Also tonight, the Ombudsman calls the release of former Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr. an eye-opener as the anti-graft agency vows to step up its fight against corruption. The NBI investigation continues. Former Congressman Jing Paras says he will answer the agency's subpoena once it is served, as investigators look into an alleged plot to steer Executive Secretary Ralph Recto. Tropical Depression Luis forms off the eastern coast, signal number 1 now raised in parts of Luzon, with heavy rain expected in the coming days. A major crackdown on oil pilferage, more than 30 million pesos worth of petroleum products recovered, and 21 people under arrest. A college teacher dies days after an alleged beating following an argument in Aklan. Three suspects now charged in the deadly shooting of a police captain inside a KTV bar in Capiz. A fire rips through an auto supply store in Quezon City. The search for the cause tonight. A warning for residents and fishermen in northern Luzon. Officials say possible rocket debris from a Chinese launch could fall inside the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Overseas, Hamas says it has agreed to disarm under a US-backed plan for Gaza. President Trump jokes he is not yet a target of the International Criminal Court. And rescuers in Pakistan continue the search for missing climbers after a deadly avalanche. And finally, from the Philippines to the world stage, SB19 makes history at Lollapalooza, becoming the first Filipino act to perform at one of the world's biggest music festivals. From our newsroom tonight, this is Top Stories.
From the Philippines, this is Top Stories with 30 Baudin.
We begin tonight with the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. The Senate Impeachment Court has now moved to Article 1, the charge alleging the misuse and irregular liquidation of confidential funds. Today, House prosecutors pointed to the testimony of two former land bank officials who they say established that more than 612 million pesos in public funds was drawn and encashed through 7 checks. The witnesses described how the checks were processed and released, including 4 checks totaling to 500 million pesos for the Office of the Vice President, and 3 more worth 112.5 million pesos for the Department of Education. Prosecutors say the testimony establishes that the money came from public funds. They acknowledge the first witnesses did not testify on where the cash went after it left the bank or how it was ultimately spent. Those questions, they say, will be addressed by future witnesses and documentary evidence. The trial is set to resume on Monday with 3 more witnesses expected to appear, including 2 officials from the Commission on Audit. Now to the country's ongoing fight against corruption, Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Rimulya says the temporary release of former Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr. should serve as what he calls an eye-opener, not a setback, but a reminder that the government must work harder to hold public officials accountable. Revilla posted a 1 million peso bail after the Sandigan Bayan granted his petition in a malversation case connected to an alleged ghost flood control project. Rimulya insists the ombudsman files cases only when the evidence meets its standard for a reasonable chance of conviction. The anti-graft agency says it will continue to pursue the cases as they move through the courts. Meanwhile, former Congressman Jing Paras says he will respond to the National Bureau of Investigation subpoena once it is officially served. Paras's lawyer says his client has the highest respect for the rule of law and will cooperate through legal counsel while exercising his constitutional rights. The NBI is investigating an alleged character assassination plot that authorities say surfaced during a human trafficking investigation. Paras has categorically denied any involvement in the alleged scheme. When we come back, a major political dispute between Senators Ping Lacson and Alan Peter Cayetano over alleged ghost projects in Taguig. And later, a major crackdown on oil pilferage leads to more than 30 million pesos in seized fuel and dozens of arrests. Stay with us. Welcome back. We turn now to another high-profile political dispute. Senator Alan Peter Cayetano is inviting Senator Ping Lacson and the public to visit infrastructure projects in Taguig, after Lacson alleged anomalies including so-called ghost projects and photo recycling in public works contracts. Cayetano strongly denies the allegations. He says to the best of his knowledge, there are no ghost projects in the city. The senator says the public should look beyond paperwork and photographs and see the projects firsthand. Lacson has already turned over the documents to the Office of the Ombudsman, which is now evaluating the evidence. Meanwhile, police in Calabarzon are reporting a major breakthrough in their crackdown on oil pilferage. Authorities say 21 people were arrested in separate operations in Laguna and Quezon, leading to the recovery of more than 30 million pesos worth of petroleum products. Investigators say the scheme allegedly involved tanker trucks diverting fuel shipments to illegal sites where gasoline, diesel, and LPG were transferred and resold. Police believe an organized criminal syndicate may be operating behind the illegal trade. They say the investigation is now expanding to identify who may be directing the operation. The suspects are facing charges under the Oil Pilferage Law and the LPG Industry Regulation Act. And in Quezon City, investigators are trying to determine what caused a fire that destroyed an auto supply store Saturday afternoon. The fire broke out on the second floor of the establishment along Mindanao Avenue, where large quantities of motor oil, rubber, and auto parts were stored. Witnesses say employees heard a loud bang, followed by smoke and flames. The Bureau of Fire Protection says the blaze was placed under the second alarm before crews brought it under control. No injuries or fatalities were reported. The cause and the total cost of damage remain under investigation. When we come back, Tropical Depression Luis continues to move off the eastern coast of Luzon, where signal number 1 has now been raised. Plus, a warning for fishermen and coastal communities as officials monitor the possible fall of rocket debris from an upcoming Chinese launch. Stay with us. Welcome back. We turn now to the weather. Tropical Depression Luis has formed off the east coast of Luzon, prompting Pag-asa to raise tropical cyclone wind signal number 1 in several areas of the Bicol region and the Polillo Islands. As of tonight, the weather disturbance was moving westward, with maximum sustained winds of 45 kilometers per hour and gusts of up to 55. Forecasters say Luis is expected to remain offshore before curving northward early next week. The system could strengthen into a tropical storm by Monday before gradually weakening. Pagasa is also warning of moderate to heavy rain in Isabela, Quirino, and Aurora, with scattered showers expected across the other parts of eastern Luzon. Meanwhile, coastal communities in northern Luzon are being advised to stay alert ahead of a planned rocket launch by China later this week. The Philippine Space Agency and the Coast Guard say parts of the rocket could fall inside the Philippines' exclusive economic zone north of Cagayan, while officials say the risk to communities remains low. Fishermen, shipping vessels, and other mariners are being urged to avoid the designated drop zone during scheduled launch. Authorities are also asking the public to report any suspected rocket debris and to avoid handling any objects found at the sea or along the shoreline. Back at home, a college teacher in Aklan has died days after police say he was allegedly beaten following an argument at a gathering. Authorities say the 52-year-old was leaving the venue on his motorcycle when the 19-year-old suspect allegedly followed him and repeatedly struck him, causing him to fall. The teacher later died in the hospital. The suspect was immediately taken into custody. Police are now determining whether alcohol played a role in the altercation. Authorities emphasize the incident was not related to the victim's work as a teacher. And in Capiz, criminal charges have now been filed against 3 suspects in the fatal shooting of a police captain inside a KTV bar last month. Investigators say the officer and 2 other policemen who were off duty at the time responded to reports of armed customers inside the establishment. Police say a confrontation followed, ending in gunfire that killed the police captain. 1 suspect has been arrested, while authorities continue the search for the others. Investigators say they are looking into the motive, adding that video from the scene does not appear to support claims that the shooting was caused by a personal grudge. When we come back, a major development in the Middle East, Hamas says it has agreed to disarm under a US-backed ceasefire plan. Plus, President Trump jokes about the International Criminal Court as his administration continues its campaign against the tribunal. And later, a historic moment for Filipino music as SB19 makes history at Lollapalooza. Stay with us. Welcome back. Overseas tonight, a major development in the Gaza conflict. Hamas says it has agreed to disarm under a US-backed ceasefire plan. The agreement calls for the group to turn over its weapons to a Palestinian governing committee, while Israel would gradually withdraw its forces from Gaza. The plan marks the next phase of a ceasefire brokered by the United States. Israel has not formally endorsed the agreement and continues to insist that any withdrawal depends on the complete disarmament of Hamas. Mediators are now focused on implementing the agreement and verifying compliance by both sides. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump joked that he is not yet a target of the International Criminal Court, as his administration continues to press other countries to withdraw from the Hague-based tribunal. The United States maintains the court has no authority over American citizens, has recently expanded its campaign against the ICC. The court has issued arrest warrants for several world leaders, including Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, a move the United States continues to oppose. And in Pakistan, rescue teams have resumed the search for 7 missing mountaineers after a powerful avalanche struck Broad Peak, one of the world's highest mountains. Authorities say the remains of 3 climbers have now been recovered, while military helicopters and high-altitude rescue teams continue the search under extremely challenging weather conditions. And finally tonight, from the Philippines to the world's biggest music festivals, SB19 has made history, becoming the first Filipino act to perform at Lollapalooza. The group took the stage in Chicago, delivering a high-energy performance to thousands of music fans from around the world. After the show, the group shared a message of gratitude, saying the achievement belongs not just to them, but to everyone who believed in their journey. Back at home, Filipino fans gathered before dawn to watch the performance together, while lawmakers praised the group for helping showcase the original Filipino music on the world stage. From the Philippines to the world, congratulations, SB19. And those are our top stories for tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm 30 Baudin from all of us here in the newsroom. Have a safe Sunday. Good morning.